G'day guys, this is FCT and today I'm having a look at the OnePlus 6 and is it still any good in 2021? Let's take a look. This is a phone that was released in May 2018, now over 3 years old with the OnePlus 9 releasing in last March. The OnePlus 6 features a 6.28 inch 1080 60Hz AMOLED panel covered by Gorilla Glass 5. There is a modest notch front and center, so it's going to be the most subjective thing. It's still smaller than current iPhones though, and can be hidden with software. Unfortunately, the implementation here with OnePlus is a little silly, but there's third-party apps to bridge that gap if you need. This thing still looks great, even by 2021 standards. I'm not even that fussed that it's missing out on high-density screen or high refresh rate, but that is subjective with everyone. First up, specs. Typical for a 2018 flagship device, it packs a Snapdragon 845. For reference, this is the same as a Pixel 3 or a Samsung Galaxy S9. It should also be noted that the 845 has similar performance to the October 2020 Pixel 5, running a Snapdragon 765G, but with much better graphics performance. It has a couple of variants ranging from 64 to 256 gigs of storage, paired with 6 or 8 gigs of RAM. This model is the cheaper 6GB version, still generous even by 2021 standards. The 330mAh battery is a bit on the smaller side in comparison to newer devices, but the 20W warp charger can bring it up to 60% within 35 minutes. Bonus points here, as it still features a notification light and a headphone jack. So what does this do well? Let's start with the software. Oxygen OS has long been praised for its take on Android. Close to stock with some useful additions and refinements. It's good logical skin that hits all the basics really well. Now this does get a little bit murkier in the future with OnePlus 11 kind of Samsunging it up a little bit and the future integration with Oppo. But for the moment, Android 10 looks great. The UI is snappy and still feels fast and fluid. It makes good use of intentional design decisions to make animations smooth and quick over long and flashy. Further to this is the performance. For a 3-year-old phone, this thing still refuses to miss a beat. Launching with a slogan, "the speed you need," and pushing optimization and animations to be as fast as possible is fantastic, and has really helped it age gracefully. The reason I fell in love with this phone still applies. It just feels smooth and with few slowdowns. And finally, updates. The OnePlus 6 gets the same cycle as the 6T, which gives it an extra 6 months of support, bringing it to 3.5 years of security and 3 OS updates. Now, we are expecting the third and final OS update, Android 11, later this year, them having just rolled out the beta update for the 6 and the 6T within the last few days. The end of the year also coincides roughly with the 3.5 year security update, so it remains to be seen how long Android 11 will be supported on these devices. As far as updates go though, this is better than average for Android, even if it does take a little bit longer than usual. So where does the OnePlus 6 really struggle? RAM management, unfortunately. As someone that came from stock Android, this thing's RAM management is far too aggressive, all in the name of battery life. I'll often have media widgets not working, stop responding. While Chromecasting content, you go back to it and it has to reload despite it still actually playing on your TV. Even just scrolling through Facebook. You find something you want to read, jump to Chrome, read that for a little bit, come back to Facebook, nope, got to reload that one now. Yeah, it can be alleviated somewhat by turning off battery optimizations, but I never got apps to work compared to old Nexus devices. It's not gone unnoticed either, with Don'tKillMyApp.com giving OnePlus the number 2 spot behind only Samsung. Another struggle point here, as expected for the cheaper device, is the camera. It takes fine photos in ideal conditions, and it's not terrible like many of the budget phones out there. The detail's a bit off, optical zoom is non-existent, and low light is lacking. This can be helped somewhat by running Google's Gcam software, which really helps with some of those low light shots if you're stable enough. The OnePlus 6 accompanied me on my travels to Japan though, back when we could travel, and I found it perfectly adequate for sightseeing. The website DxOMark also scores this with a 96, coming in close to the likes of an iPhone X and the LG V40 for reference. And finally, updates. Yeah, it's positive. Unfortunately, it's also in struggle town at the same time. As touched on before, it's great that this thing gets Android 11. It's less great that it's happening around a year after Android 11's actually released. The unfortunate cycle with OnePlus, unfortunately, seems to be push out a new device, support it for 6 to 12 months, then move on to the next best thing, and that device kind of gets forgotten. At this point, it'll still get updates slowly for the rest of the year, and if you want to keep things rolling after that, there's always OSs like Lineage if you want to just bail on Oxygen altogether. So, is it worth it? Yeah. When this came out, this was almost like a spiritual successor for the Nexus devices, hitting that really good sweet spot. Price range now seems to be about 200 to 400 Aussie dollars online, which is around 150 to 300 US. Despite its weaknesses, I still believe this is worthy of 2021, especially for anybody that doesn't need the latest and greatest. Get some good bang for buck out of this because there is still plenty of life left.